Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a review show special. This is where I take a deep dive into a particular product or creator or company. And today I'm going to take a deep dive into Parma Magic. Now, Parma Magic is a magic company based in Canada, owned by Shawn Farquhar. Now, if you don't know who Shawn Farquhar is, he is a living legend, multi-award-winning world champion of magic, full Penn and Teller numerous times, basically the man when it comes to magic. And, I've interviewed him before on this channel. If you want to check that out, you can do so on the Talk Magic playlist. He is amazing. He is an incredible creator. And as well as being just good at absolutely everything, he also owns Parma Magic. And Parma Magic markets some absolutely incredible items. It's weird because it's not a company that brings out stuff a lot. It's just very occasionally they'll bring out a product or a download, and when they do, it's normally really high quality. And a lot of people don't know Parma Magic. They know Shawn Farquhar, but they don't know Parma Magic. And I'm on a mission to change this because Parma Magic has some of the most incredible magic you've ever seen. Now, this is going to be part one. I'll do a second part at some point down the line, a little bit like I did with Alakazam last week. When I look at a company that's got lots of stuff out, I'll do various different review show specials over time. Well, this is going to be kind of part one because Parma Magic has got so much stuff, and I think we need to shine a spotlight on all of it. But specifically today, I'm going to be looking at 4 items, and I actually got a chance to sit down and chat with Shawn Farquhar as well. So I spoke to him about Parma Magic, how he came about to own and run Parma Magic. I spoke to him about some of the stuff he actually carries, some of the stuff he actually does, and what's happening with Parma Magic in the future. They ship worldwide. They have a range of downloads that you can get immediately. I'm going to be talking about 4 particular products, but my gosh, they have a huge range, and I will be looking at those in future videos. But I'm going to start off by playing the interview that I did with Shawn. So this isn't the main interview. If you want to check out the main interview, check out the Talk Magic playlist. This was just kind of a mini interview where I talked with Shawn about Parma Magic, and I'm going to play that now, and then I'm going to come back into the studio and I'm going to perform and review 4 Parma Magic tricks. But first of all, let's have a look at the interview. So I'm here with my favourite magician in the whole world, the nicest guy in magic as well, multi-time world champion, the one and only Shawn Farquhar. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm tickety-boo. I bet you say that to all the magicians, but thank you very much for saying it to me.
I only say it to all the world champions. So.
Oh, okay, so that's a smaller group, but I get it. That's good.
But you know what? You've been on the channel before. Your interview is one of the most popular on this whole channel. And cool. And since I interviewed you, you've become a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Let's just promote that quickly. People need to check out your YouTube channel because it's rapidly becoming my favorite YouTube channel, man. I love it.
Thank you. I got like, not a lot, like 46,000 subscribers or something, but I do one every Monday. Today I have to drop a video after this. I just think it's a fun medium. And to be absolutely honest, I really didn't approach it other than to put a couple videos for promotion. But I watched you. And I was like, this guy is pouring his heart out and saying such great things about magic. I should add to the magic community in some way too. That's the absolute God's truth. And I went, okay, I'll start. I didn't think it was going to be this much work though. It's hard work.
It really is. Unless you actually do YouTube, people don't realize how hard work it is.
And there's this commitment to a deadline. Because I said, first it was going to be, I'll do it every second day. And I said, that's insane. We'll go to like once a week. And I'm thinking now, once a month would be really, but once a week.
But your videos are so creative, and they're always like mind-blowing. And just the one that I liked that I saw recently, was it Magic Story Time? And you were telling me,
yeah, with Di Vernon.
And that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
I really appreciate you saying that because it's my least viewed video with the most comments, and everybody that comments says, oh my God, this was great and you should do more. And I'm like, it's my least viewed video. In fact, the video after that one, I mentioned it about 9 times, like least viewed video. Yeah, because I was like, but it's a true story, which is great. It reminds us about our heroes in magic and how not all of them are jerks, that there are some really great people out there and that you just have to pick your heroes well. I think that sort of stuff is great. And I show video clips. I showed them of Doug Henning just recently. who's another one of my heroes. And I like telling some stories and doing a little bit of magic.
It's great. So people, first of all, check out Shawn's YouTube channel. The link is right here. I'm sure that if you're watching this channel, you're already subscribed, but we're here to talk about Parma Magic because a lot of people, they know you as a performer, as a creator, now as a YouTuber. You know, they know you about all this different stuff. A lot of people don't realize that you own Parma Magic.
Yeah. A lot of people write me and say, Shawn, I really want to support the creator. Where should I go? And I go, Palmer Magic. And they said, no, I want to support you. And I said, I am Palmer Magic. And they're like, why is the name Palmer? And I'm like, oh, I bought the company. It was owned by a man named Palmer Tilden, who was a dear close friend and an amazing inventor. And somehow he brought all these magicians together and convinced them all to give them their magic effects, like Michael Lamar's card and sealing wax and Paul Harris's screwed deck. All of these tricks are Bob Koch's telekinetic timber, you know, the wood that falls over away from the bottle. All things I dreamed about having when I was a kid.
Slidini silks.
Slidini silks, Slidini's linking pins. I mean, there is just so much stuff in there. I never even realized that people tell me that our silks are the best in the world. And I mean, from every expert, they tell me. And I'm like, well, the really cool thing was up until about 7 months ago, we were still selling silks that Slidini had bought the roll of the material personally. Now it took us like a year and a half to find the same company to make the same blend, but we still have the same little old lady sewing them. She's in her mid 80s and she's going, well, just order how many you need. I said, no, you just keep making them. And she says, but you might have too much stock and you don't want to risk your money. I said, I don't want to be rude, but you're in your 80s. Just keep making them. Don't know when that ends. Yeah, she has they're the perfect silk for it. Everybody tells me, which is kind of cool. I saw the stuff when I was a kid and dreamed of, you know, buying this or buying that. I bought the whole company for one reason. It was the Omni deck. They own the rights to the Omni deck, Palmer Magic. And that was Jerry Anders, who was my mentor. And I really wanted to keep his name out there. And so I asked him if I could just buy it. And he said no, that he didn't want to piece up the company. And so I knew I couldn't afford the whole company. So I kind of sat on the side. Then one day, my family and I, we were all in Long Beach, California, sitting in a Denny's, and he phoned to say, I just want to let you know I had an offer for the company and I think I'm going to take it. And then you can contact that guy and maybe he wants to sell off a piece. And I said, I'm just curious, would you tell me how much you're selling the company for? He said, well, I haven't signed any papers yet, but this is the amount. And I went, what? It was less than I was going to offer him for the Omni deck. And I was like, you're selling the whole company for that price? He goes, yeah. I said, I'll give you a 6,000 more. What? He said, I'll give you another 6,000 on top of it. Let's round up that number. And I promise I'll keep your name, Palmer Magic, on it until you've passed. And he's like, oh, that would be the best thing ever. And so I bought the whole company for just 6,000 more than I was going to pay for the one trick. And then I found out later that it came with inventory. He had a warehouse full of stuff. I had to actually buy a trailer when I got there because I took a small truck and it was like, that's not going to fit it. I had to buy a trailer to load it all up. And so I was still selling original, the card on sealing wax, you know, that Michael Lamar stuff, this cool stuff. This is like the craziest wax in the entire world for card on sealing. I had hundreds and hundreds of them. And it gets funnier. About 2 years ago, a guy emails me from Germany and says, I understand you bought Palmer's company, that you were good friends. I have a bunch of stock when he came to do a European tour sitting in my closet. Where should I mail that? Oh, yes, please. So he mailed back. So I got a bunch of the original Omni decks in their original jewel boxes. And it's just crazy. So yeah, it's all classics of magic that have lived the test of time. They're not, you know, the new high flute and stuff. They're like really good, solid working effects.
And that's why I wanted to do a review show special on Palmer Magic, because magicians these days, and I've talked about this on this channel, they are obsessed with the new shiny thing. Oh, this has just come out through Murphy's. I need to buy this. This is what's going to make me famous. And they forget about a lot of the stuff that's been around for years that is just as good now, if not better than it was back in the day, and certainly a lot better than 95% of the stuff that comes out these days.
Yeah, new and improved isn't always the truth. It's like old and tried and tested that I remember the people performing them. And when I pick up an Omni deck, I see Tony Yang, Canada's ambassador of magic, just frying people, and Jerry Andrus, where people's jaws just drop going. You can still drop it today with the exact same effect. It's like there's nothing's changed in the human psyche.
It's true. And you've got, although you've got this big range that Palmer came with when you bought it, you've been bringing out stuff as well through Palmer
Really
Magic.
selective. I added my stuff into Palmer Magic because I like my stuff. And I know it's tried and true. But I started adding artists. And the first artist I added was Stephen Bargatze because I just think his material is brilliant. He's just the outgoing president of the IBM at this very moment. His stuff like I Hate Cards is just unbelievable. I Hate Kids. We have a new one coming out called I Love Money. And then one after that's going to be I'm Impartial to Toilets. And those are all effects. It's for real. And every one of them is a blockbuster in his show that has made his career. And they're all funny. Stephen, knows funny. He's got a son, Nate Bargatze, who's absolutely hilarious. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Tony, Chris, we added to the lineup just a single DVD because he's basically left magic, but he was into bizarre magic. And we made an entire DVD that's just awesome of stuff that you can create yourself. It's magic you have to make. And there's at least 5 or 6 out of the 12 tricks that will go into your repertoire really fast. And it's kind of a shame that he kind of left magic. But I'm always looking for that artist that has material that people don't get to see, that there's a niche for it. I don't want to be it's the greatest thing this year. I just want it to be the greatest thing forever.
So if somebody watching this and they've got a trick and they think, you know what, I believe in this trick, can they contact you about producing it?
Yeah. I don't want it to be something new that they've just created like in the last year or something. I want them to say, Shawn, I've been doing this trick for 20 years and it's just never been on the market. And this is solid because I know that sounds really weird because there's 1,000 places that'll market your new magic trick. And that's great. And what happens is your trick goes out there, it gets seen and people buy it and then it gets forgotten and then people don't remember it. I can challenge you to try to remember all the tricks most people bought last year. I want that trick that everybody is going to go, I want that in my repertoire for the rest of my life. I get a lot of people sending me stuff and I'm going, it's really cool. And you'll do a great release with it. And I'll give you a quote if you'd like, because I think it's cool, but it's not for my line. My line, I want to be really, and I want bodies of work if possible, like 2 or 3 things. We added 1 book to the lineup, which is kind of cool. Do you know Tom Craven?
Yes.
Yeah. So Tom Craven, my almost 50 years in magic, we added a book to the line, and it's because he'd published the book and it went out of print. And I said, why is it out of print? He said, well, it's expensive to print it. And, I'm like, yeah, but it has to be out there. And he says, well, no, someday someone will, buy the rights. I'm like, I will buy the rights tomorrow and I will pay you a percentage on every sale until you pass. And then when you pass for another 5 years, I'll give it to your wife or your grandkids or whoever you want to. I just want your book. And he's like, okay. And so now we offer this hard-covered book of Tom Craven's work, and it's chock-a-block full of really cool stuff. So yeah, we add once in a while, but it's more like bodies of work than just, I've got this really cool flashy trick that'll work with a Rubik's Cube tomorrow. And I'm like, there's plenty of places for you to sell that.
You know what? That's why I love you, Shawn, because you really respect magic. You really love magic. And it shows every time I speak to you, every time I see you perform, every time I watch you, this love of magic just shines through. And it's amazing to see. It really is.
A small community, and magic has done everything for me. If you ever come to my house, you'll see the big sign in front of the house that says Chateau Farquhar, the house that cards built. It's like I owe everything to it. It probably wouldn't never have met my wife. I wouldn't have had a life being able to travel and see the world without it. I really have a deep debt to magic. And so I respect it. So when I see people that are, defaming it, exposing it, or treating it like a trinket, it really boils. That's why I really love a lot of the stuff you shout about. It's like, shout it from the rooftops, my friend. Stand on 2 soapboxes and let people know. And when the community then embraces them later, I'm like, you don't remember what they did? Because my memory, I have an eidetic memory. I'm not going to forget.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. But I'm going to review a whole bunch of your routines and your line, not everything, because there's so much stuff on magic, but I'm going to look at a few select bits and pieces. One of the things I'm going to review, I just want to quickly ask you a question, because I'm going to look at Screwed Deck, which is obviously
Paul Harris. Crazy good.
And I did a video a few months ago where I did the best openers of all time, and I put that on there.
Yeah.
The reason you were telling me off camera that you have a kind of a handling for this.
I have a new variation on it that's totally crazy. And I'm building it into the download so that people that get the traditional version will be able to modify it themselves which really allows for the end of the trick. Normally, there's always one awkward hand. And then with the new method, this hand can go up, and then this action, and then your other hand can be awkward for a second. Then you go back the other way, and there, yeah, it's really cool. I made a YouTube video about it that said first the screw deck traditional, and then after it, the YouTube video says new handling. And a lot of people that own it were messaging going, "You can't do that." And I'm like, "Yes, you can. And get an X-Acto blade, and I'll show you how."
That's amazing.
A lot of stuff like that. So many ideas just pop from, like I jammed with Shin Lim and Ruben Moreland one night at a 4F and came up with a thing I call special delivery with just a piece of paper. And it was just a production out of a piece of paper. It's in like the linking ring. I published it. But then like 3 months went by and a person turned me on to a leather maker, and I created C2W, my card to wallet, which is my everyday wallet. I use every single day, walk around with it, my wallet. And what's cool is it's the only wallet I've seen that you show open at the start, and then you make the card appear inside after they've seen it's open.
And what's brilliant about your wallet, it is absolutely perfect for, is it rainbow?
Yeah, for rainbow.
It's perfect. I've never seen it like you built the wallet specifically.
Rainbow is right there. So it's on display. You hold it, they take the picture, the card appears inside. So you get multiple. Oh, and it's got this in there. An emboss of the 3 of spades. So you can actually have their playing card emboss inside of it. And if you don't point it out, no one's even going to notice. They're just going to think it's a logo in the wallet, which is even cooler.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely awesome.
Thanks.
That's great. But I was gonna ask you about one more thing before we shoot in the studio. The other thing I'm going to be looking at is the HD effects, which is a download. And by the way, you sell this way too cheaply because like you're insane or something, I don't know. But this is legendary. This is like a lot of people describe this as the best any card at any number they've ever seen. You were telling me a story about.
Yeah.
Can you tell us? That is the best story I've ever heard.
So I wanted to create any card, any number with a borrowed shuffled deck of cards. And I wanted to make it 3 phases. But I was in Italy at FISM, and I was standing around talking to a friend. He was from Sri Lanka. We're having a little conversation, and these 2 guys from England came over and said, "Excuse me, Shawn, if we could interrupt, we heard you have this brilliant A-can routine." I said, "Well, I don't know if it's brilliant, but it's kind of cool. I could show you one phase," because I was having a conversation. So we did the one phase. At the end of the phase, they both looked at me and went, "Interesting," and walked away. And I was like, that wasn't the reaction I was expecting. And I turned back to my friend and said, "That was odd, wasn't it?" He said, "Yeah, they seemed impressed, but not impressed." I'm like, or stunned. I'm not sure. So we talked for maybe 20 minutes, and they came back over and said, "Could we interrupt again?" I said, "Oh yeah, sure. What's up?" They said, "My friend and I have been having a discussion, and we've decided you were just lucky." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." He said, "Could you do it again?" I said, "Well, yeah, I could do a different phase." And I said, "Here's what we'll do. Take out a card, look at the card, and you put it back in the deck and you shuffle them. And I'll look away while you do that." So they took out a card, they shuffled them. When I turned to look behind me, standing behind me was David Berglass. Yeah, international man of mystery, David Berglass right there. I'm like, "Hello." And he's like, "Hello." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I turned around and I took the cards back and I said, let's do this. Instead of you giving me a number, just take the cards, hand them right back to them. I said, just begin dealing them onto my hand one at a time. You stop when you want to. In fact, as they were dealing, I said, you don't even have to do them one at a time. You can do groups. You can do them from the bottom to the top. It doesn't matter. Just put some cards on my hand. Stop when you're happy. And they did. And I said, that's a lot of cards. It's like 24, I think they had. I said, what was the name of your card? And they told me, I said, wouldn't it be crazy if it was right there? And I lifted it up to show it. Their face went to that gobsmacked look. And I slowly turned it thinking, I should show Mr. Berglass too. And as I did, he looked at me and goes, interesting. And I was like, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I just did an A-can in front of David Berglass at FISM. It was like, they dispersed. I turned back to my friend from Sri Lanka and said, yeah, so that was neat, right? He goes, yeah. I was like, you know who that was, Shawn? I said, yeah, I know who that was. It was like, how could I not know who that was? Yeah, that's not how I expected to do the routine.
No, not at all.
But I really love it. It's only $10, and I did that for a reason. It was the first time I wanted to try a download. I'd seen a lot of my stuff being torrented and offered for like $3 and $5, and it wasn't the full thing. It was just a rip of a DVD or whatever, and it really bothered me. And I thought, maybe it's the pricing. And I said, you know what, the HD effect I could easily have sold for $50. I know I could have, and then made a little box set and talked a little bit more. Instead, I made, it's a long video, full explanation, shot from all directions. I said, I'm going to put it at $10. Nobody should ever balk at $10. If they won't pay $10, then they're not interested in magic at any level of a devoted student for $10. And I tried it, and I've sold tens of thousands of them. But there's still torrents out there for like 99 cents. And I watched one of them. I'll be honest, I added a torrent which starts off really soft and then cuts to pornography with a really loud sound on it. So I'm hoping that the people that like torrent it will be watching it quietly in their office and have to turn up the volume really loud to hear the soft volume on the rip. And then all of a sudden they'll have this horrible video playing really loud, have to explain it to their mums and dads.
That is brilliant.
Thanks. The best $10 you can spend.
I don't care if you do another any card at any number or not. Like it's great to have an impromptu, anytime, anywhere, killer 3-phase routine. It's great. Absolutely. Especially
if you already have one that's built in your show and people call you on it later and you can't do the one that you do in your show. This one you can just do with one of those puppy dog bridge-sized decks of cards that had beer spilled over them at the pub. That's brilliant.
That's brilliant. Shawn, I'm going to shoot back to the studio, but before I do, where do people go? I'm going to put it down below. The Palmer Magic URL?
PalmerMagic.com. That easy.
And you ship worldwide?
I do. And I actually subsidize shipping because Canada Post is insane in the cost. So I pay partial shipping. So the costs are much less. But it is a little slower.
You realize when you run a business, you're meant to make money, right?
Yeah, no, I got the performing part for that. This is my part where I get to help magic and share my mentors' ideas and to help the magic community learn about new people that they should learn about.
God, I love you. Shawn, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Feelings mutual, my friend.
Mate, I'm going to highlight some of my favorite routines from Palmer Magic now. Thank you very much. I'll see you again soon.
Definitely. Bye-bye.
So first of all, thank you very much to Shawn Farquhar for doing that interview. He's a very busy guy, so thank you very much. Really appreciate it, Shawn. So you heard from the man himself. I'm going to look at 4 products. And the first product that I'm going to be looking at today is going to be Screwed Deck. Now, Screwed Deck is something that I've done for years. It is a Paul Harris trick. If you don't know Paul Harris, what rock have you been living under? It is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to open a card set. In fact, when I did my video of the best opening card routines of all time, this was included in that. And I have been using variations of the Screwed Deck for years. The reason this trick is so good is because it's very quick, it's very visual, it grabs people's attention, and it showcases that you're not just going to be doing a normal pick a card trick. This is kind of like all the really important stuff that you need to know and you need to be able to do if you're going to be doing commercial close-up magic. Because we've all been there where you pull out a deck of cards and you go, hey, pick a card, and they go, I've seen that one. You want to establish credibility earlier on. You want to have a really strong opener that makes people realize it's not just going to be a normal card trick. So what happens in the Screwed Deck is basically you bring out 2 halves of a deck of cards, a little bit like a pool cue or a snooker cue. You then screw them together, you pull the cards out, and first of all, that opening production is amazing because you've got 2 halves of the deck. You can show them, you put them together, and you immediately pull out this deck of cards. I mean, that's incredible. But you show that the cards are all screwed up. And then you give it one final turn. The cards have sorted themselves out. You're left with a regular deck. You just have to take the Joker out, put the Joker away, and you're left with the regular deck to do whatever routines you want to do. Let me perform the routine for you first of all. I'm going to perform it to Sarah. I'm going to perform it to Sarah on camera, and then I'll showcase, we'll talk about why it's so good. And spoiler alert, I know this is a review show, but I absolutely love this. So I've got Sarah behind the camera. Hey, Sarah.
Hey.
You like playing pool, don't you?
I do.
Do you play snooker?
Not really.
You can always tell a professional pool or snooker player when they've got one of those fancy cues that you screw together, and when they go to a game, they've got their own cue.
Like I have. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, like you have, like whatever. But it's the same with magicians. If you're a professional magician, you have your own deck of cards that you screw together.
Do you?
This is called a Screwed Deck. This is the bottom of the deck, and this is the top of the deck, and I keep it in my pocket. And when I want to play cards or I want to do card tricks, all I have to do is just screw the deck together. You just got to... I really struggle to get the thread. There we go. You just screw it together like that. There you go. And when it's all screwed together, what you do is you just pull, and you can take the deck out of, oh, hang on. Oh dear. I screwed up. It's okay. I can fix this. This isn't as big a problem. I just have to give it one more turn. There we go. One more turn. And now we're left with a regular deck of cards. And I can go into any tricks that I want to go into. And that is screwed deck. Okay, so that is screwed deck. Now let's talk about the advantages. First of all, it doesn't take up that much pocket space. So you've got the half in that pocket, you've got the half in that pocket. When I do this, I have half in each pocket. And that's how I have it. I just have half the deck over there, half the deck over there. Once I've set the deck up like that, I'm good to go. The angles are pretty much damn near perfect. When I want to go into the routine, I just reach into the pockets, pull out the two halves. If I've got someone directly behind me, I'll keep my hands closer to my chest. I can show them very, very cleanly, screw it, and then open it up. The nice thing is, once you've taken the screwed deck out, the box isn't examinable, but all people want to look at this point is the deck. You put the box away, and then you've got that beautiful extra moment of magic where you twist the deck one more time to straighten all the cards out, at which point you can show the deck very, very cleanly. Now, there is one gimmicked card in there, which is a joker. So in the action of taking that joker out and putting it away and saying, well, let's do a card trick now, you're left with a regular deck of cards. In terms of a reset, it's about a 10-second reset. As you walk away from the table, all you got to do is take the gimmick, unscrew it, put the deck back in one half of the gimmick, put them away in your pockets, and you reset, ready to go again. It doesn't require a table. It can be done mix and mingle. There's no net. It's very easy to do. You're not palming the deck in any way, shape, or form because you're naturally holding the two halves of the deck. It's very deceptive the way it works. So it is actually really easy to work. And one of the nice things about this is the hook, as well as being a really strong opener because it's visual and it's quick and it establishes credibility. The other thing is it's a really powerful hook. We've talked about on this channel before about hooks and the importance of hooking an audience in. You gotta have that hook when you're performing. What are you doing to hook the audience in? A lot of people play pool, a lot of people play snooker, or they've seen snooker players and pool players that have those cues that screw together. So when you bring this deck of cards out, they understand the concept that you're trying to put across. They know exactly what you're talking about. It's an interesting hook, but also it's an impossible object. They will never have seen a deck of cards before like that. You know, they see the rivets in the cards. They see them like this. It looks incredible. It looks crazy. And then you screw it together and then immediately pull the deck out. It's really strong. And as I say, I've done this for years and years and years. I've actually used this in competition acts in the past. So when I've entered close-up competitions, I've actually used this to open a competition act. The other thing is I don't see anyone else doing this. I really haven't seen many people use this. And so when you actually do this in the real world, it's something that kind of really takes people. It's not like, you know, Omnideck is a perfect example. I've met so many people that go, oh, I'm a magician, he turned the deck into a glass block. That happens all the time over here in the UK. I've never had anyone go, oh, I saw a magician and he took two halves of a deck and screwed them together. Never see that at all. So it's very unique. It's very different. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I don't want to sell you on it. I mean, you saw the performance. It's that good. Takes up no pocket space. I absolutely love it. I'm going to give it 100%. I've been doing it for years. It's always in my close-up case. I've got several of them because I never want to do without it. I've got red ones and blue ones, and it's exclusive to Palmer Magic. So the only place you can get it is from Palmer Magic. It's highly recommended. Okay, so the next routine that I'm going to be talking about is I Hate Kids. Now, I Hate Kids is by Stephen Bergatsky, and it is a routine designed for a stand-up performance. Now, this could be done close-up. This absolutely could be done close-up. It could be done table magic. It could be done table hopping. But I think the real strength of this routine is doing it on stage. Holiday parks, this is absolutely brilliant. Family shows, it's absolutely brilliant. Shows where you've got a couple of kids in the audience, absolutely great. Like a wedding, for example. And also kid shows. I mean, the thing with this trick is you've got to have the right personality. This trick is right up my street. If you've ever seen me perform on stage, if you've ever seen me perform in front of a family audience, if you've ever seen me perform in front of a kid show audience, I have this kind of character of, I don't particularly like kids. You know, it's a character I've always had ever since I first got into magic. This whole, shut up, well, you don't know what you're talking about kind of thing. This works really well for me. If you're, you know, I've met kids entertainers before. I've met family entertainers before that are super nice and lovely and the kid's best friend. I don't think this would work because in order for this to work the way it does, you'd have to completely switch your character in the middle of the show. But for somebody who's, and that's why it works really well for an audience where you're not there as a kid's entertainer, but you're there as an entertainer for the adults, but there's some kids in the audience going down the route of saying, hey, you know, at some point in the show, hey, you know, I've noticed some kids in the audience. So, you know, it's part of my contract to bring a kid up on stage. You know, which kid would like to win some money? You then kind of go into this. But if you've got the right character, this is absolutely brilliant in a kid show as well. So I'm gonna perform this on Thea. Thea has never seen this before. So I think she'd be Ryland has, so I think this would be the perfect trick for Thea to see. And I think that you'll get a genuine reaction of what a kid's going to react like when they see the trick. So let me get Thea, and I'm going to do a full performance of I Hate Kids. Okay, I'm here with my daughter Thea. Say hi, Thea.
Hi.
You're in your school uniform. You just finished school, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you like money, don't you?
Yeah.
So would you like a chance to win some money?
Yeah.
Would you like to win 20 pence?
Yes.
How cool would that be? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to play a little game, and I'm going to give you a chance to win 20 pence, but I'm telling you right now, Thea, you're going to lose. You see, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Sometimes, some adults, they'll sugarcoat it for you. I'm not going to do that. We're going to play this game. You're going to lose. Now, when you lose, I don't want you to cry. Are you going to cry?
No.
Don't cry, because I know what you like. When you lose, you're going to be like, I could have won the money. And you're going to be really upset and you're going to be crying. Nobody wants to see you cry on camera, okay? Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, there is no way you can beat me because you've got a tiny little kid brain and I've got a big adult brain. And there's no way your tiny little kid brain is better than my big adult brain. So there's no way you're going to win. You're going to lose. And here's the deal. We're going to play the game. You're going to lose. You're going to go back. You're going to sit down over there and you're not going to cry. Do you get it?
Yes.
Are you going to cry?
No.
No crying, right? Okay, this is how the game works. I have 3 little black wallets. Can you see these?
Yeah.
This one's number 1. What's that? Number
1.
This one's number
2.
This one's number
3.
Inside one of these is a 20 pence piece. If you get the right one, you get to keep the 20p. Now, I'm telling you right now, this is why you're going to lose. Because you know you're going to get all confused, you see. I'm saying, which one would you like? And I keep saying the word one over again. Which one would you like? So your little tiny pre-brain, kid brain, you're probably thinking it's going to be in number 1. Because I keep saying 1. But it's not in number 1. Now, number 2, this one here, the only time that number 2 is picked is by kids that are really, really smelly. Now, you're really confused. You don't know what to do. Maybe I'm just saying that smelly thing so you don't pick number 2. Or maybe you are smelly and you can pick number 2. Maybe it's number 3. You just haven't got a clue. You don't know. 1, 2, 3, you're going to lose. You're going to pick a wallet. You're going to lose. You're going to sit down. Don't cry. Which one? 1, 2, 3. Which one?
1.
Number 1.
Yes.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Don't you want the smelly one? Number 2, the smelly one.
Yeah.
No, it's up to you, Thea. You can have whichever one you want to. That's number 1. You can have number 2. You can have number 3. Which one would you like?
1.
You do want number 1.
Yeah.
Do you want to change your mind?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You want this one, yes?
Yes.
Have a look at what's inside. Take it out. What's inside there? You got the 20p. That's really cool. But you didn't win. Do you know why?
What?
Because if you'd picked this one, you would have got a £10 note. And if you'd picked this one here, you would have got a £20 note. But you know what, Thea? You won the 20p. Well done. Good for you. Yay. So there you go, guys. That is I Hate Kids by Stephen Bogatsky. And it is incredible. You saw the reaction on Thea's face. Now, I should say that when Stephen explains and performs this, he uses a dollar bill, which makes absolute sense in the US and in countries where you've got a low denomination bill. In the UK, we haven't got a low denomination bill, so I typically will use a pound coin. I didn't have any pound coins in the house. And I wanted to actually perform this before Thea went to bed. So I just grabbed some 20 pences and I did it with the 20 pence. But normally when I perform this on stage, I do this with a pound coin, and I have with the presentation that you just saw. I love the hook. And again, we come back to this hook. I love the premise. I love the hook of, you're going to do this trick. You're playing this whole cocky character. There's no way you're going to beat me. You know, don't cry when you lose. You are going to lose. All of your friends are going to call you a loser. Don't cry. You get the right kid for this. And I think that comes from experience. You've got to get the right kid. Because I've seen performers do this routine and they've brought the wrong kid up and they've started crying. And it's a terrible situation that you're there on stage and you've made this kid cry. That's never what you want to do. So it's about delivering these lines in a very tongue-in-cheek way, but also picking the right kid to come up and help you on stage, if that makes sense. And anyone with experience of performing with kids won't have a problem with that. You know which kid to pick immediately from doing a kid show. If you're doing this in a kid show, you'll know exactly who to pick. But likewise, if you're doing this in a family show, you'll know exactly whether the kid that comes up on stage will work for this routine or not. If the kid that you bring up on stage is a little bit shy, you can dial back the presentation a little bit and you can kind of go a bit softer with it and go, hey, I'm going to give you a chance to win some money. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to win. Yeah, she's not going to win, is she? And you can kind of play it a little bit softer and kind of adjust the presentation based on the kid that comes up on stage. But the funniest outcome is when you get a kid up and you can kind of go full on a little bit like Stephen does. Stephen's performance of this is hilarious. I mentioned earlier on that you can actually do this on stage. You can do this close up. You can, because it takes up no pocket space really. Obviously, you're giving away a coin every single time, or a dollar bill or whatever. So if you do this in a restaurant and you do this 10 times, you're going to give away $10 bills. But if you're doing it in a restaurant, maybe you speak to the restaurant and you get a coupon for a free ice cream. And you say, hey, I'm going to give you a chance to win a free ice cream. Would you like a free ice cream? That could work as well. So you're giving coupons out for the free ice cream. It's not costing you anything, but it's actually promoting the restaurant as well. And it would still work exactly the same way. But you do it in a restaurant, it's in your pocket. It just stays in there. In order to reset it for the next performance, you're obviously, you just have to put another coin or another dollar bill or another ice cream voucher into the wallet, and you're ready to go again. So it's like a 10-second reset, but it doesn't take up any pocket space. It's very easy to do. The wallets are really well made. They're made out of genuine leather. They'll last a lifetime. They're really well made. They do what they're meant to do. The wallets do all the work for you. I've seen wallets like this before. They are very easy to use. Someone with no experience, no skill, no ability at sleight of hand will be able to do this immediately, which means that you can focus on the presentation. And that's the killer part of this routine, the presentation, because basically, in essence, what we have here is we have a bank night with 3 wallets. That's what we have. And the genius part about this is the payoff at the end. When you finish off, and obviously they think they've won, the crowd are really happy for the kid walks off and you go, well, if you pick this one, you would have got this. If you pick this one, you would have got this. Very funny moment, really, really funny moment. Genuinely funny, and it'll work in any show that there's kids in the audience. It will work for close-up. I think this is best as a stand-up show piece, like I said earlier, but it will work really well in any kids show. So there you go, that's I Hate Kids. You know, when Palmer Magic or Stephen Bargatsky puts a routine out, you know it's going to be good and it's going to be well worked in. You can tell from the live performances that this is something that Stephen's done an awful lot. The quality is great. The instructions on the download are great. Everything's great. I'm going to give this, you know what? I'm going to give this 100%. This is a killer part of a show. It's absolutely killer. I can't give it anything less than 100% because it is that good. You want a good 5-minute bit that fits into your, fits into your pocket. It's that old cliche, pack small, plays big. If you want something that packs small but plays to a big audience, this is what you want. I Hate Kids. Highly recommend it. Okay, so the third item we're going to be looking at right now is sheer luck. I questioned whether I should actually include a performance of sheer luck in this. In this, to be honest, I questioned whether I should actually include sheer luck in this review because it's so well known. I mean, Shawn Farquhar has done a version of this on Penn and Teller Fool Us, and you know, he's very well known for doing the sheer luck book test. But I think I have to include it because I know there's people out there that haven't seen it, that don't know what it is, and I want to highlight to you how absolutely incredible this routine is. I have been doing this since it first came out. I'm telling you right now, this is going to get 100%. This is absolutely brilliant. What is sheer luck? It's basically a book test, and the book test is a little bit like paper balls over the head. So the concept behind it is you say that you've memorized a book, and you bring somebody up on stage and you stand back to back with this person and you give them a book and you say that you've memorized every single word on this book, every single line, every single chapter, every single paragraph, you've memorized each word, and then you stand back to back and you tell them to open up to any page and tell you the page number. And they do, and what they don't see and what the audience sees is you reach into your pocket and you take out an identical book. And then you read that book to them and then you're telling them exactly what they're seeing. And then you turn around and they don't see the book. Or was that good? Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? Let's do this again, shall we? Yeah, let's turn to another page. And it's a completely different, it's like paper balls over the head. The audience are finding it hilarious, but the person who you're performing it on is absolutely blown away. And then you get this wonderful moment where they realize you've got a duplicate book. And then you say, well, you know, have a look at the book. Have a look, what page were you on? 57. Look at that page. Look at the next page. Look at the next page. Look at every single page in the book. And you show them that all the pages are blank. You then show the audience that all the pages are blank. And the nice thing is, this is not like a Svengali book. Genuinely, all the pages are blank. As you're showing each page, they genuinely are blank. And then you just put the book away and you're done. It's an incredible routine. And again, I'm sorry I'm using this over cliche line, but it is pack small, plays big. You just take two books, you put it in your case, and you are good to go anytime, anywhere to do a routine that will play to the largest audience. I have done this in the past as front of cloth piece in my illusion act. I've also done it at parlor shows. I've done it cabaret shows. I've done it street performances. I've done it in so many different places. It is an incredible routine. Let's have a quick performance. Let's have a quick look at a performance of sheer luck.
And we're going to do two things, Bryony. The first one looks like mind reading. It's not. I just have an amazing memory. I'd like to show you how good my memory is. I have a book here. Now, you might have read this, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. No?
Pretended to.
Okay, pretended. There's 202 pages here. There are thousands and thousands of words, paragraphs, chapters. Can you do me a favour, just flick through it and make sure it's you can read it if you want to. It probably would take too long. But have a look at it, make sure it's all okay. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I think there's something like 50,000 words in that book or something. Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you something right now. I bought this book 2 days ago, Bronnie, and in 2 days, I have managed to memorize every single word in this book. Every chapter, paragraph, sentence, every single word I have memorized, and I have instant recall. Ooh. It gets better. Oh, they're going. Now, to prove this to you, I'd like you to take the book. Now, I don't want to be accused of looking at the book, so what I would like you to do is face that way, and I'm going to face this way. And we're going to stand back to back, or cheek to cheek. Now, there's a reason I do this. There's a reason I push against you. The reason is this. If I do this, you can feel that, can't you?
Yes.
And likewise, if I do that, you can feel that, can't you?
Yes.
So by pushing against you, you know that I'm not looking at the book. It's really important that you realise that I don't look at the book. Now, what I'd like you to do, Bryony, I'd like you to take the book and open it somewhere in the middle. And tell me when you're done. Okay, so if I really have memorised every single sentence, chapter, paragraph and word in that book, I should know, if you tell me the page number, I should be able to know exactly what's on that book. So what page number are you looking at?
131.
131. Okay, can you count how many paragraphs there are on page 131, please? Can you count how many paragraphs there are on page 131? Can you do that for me? Just count how many paragraphs? Have you count? No, you weren't meant to tell me. Hang on, let me use my psychic powers. There's 6 paragraphs. I know, it's amazing. Don't tell me, because the trick is that I'm supposed to memorise the book and tell you what's on there. So there's 6 paragraphs. Let's try something else. The first word on you said 131, didn't you? Mm-hmm. All right, the first word. Look at the first word. Is the first word ordinary?
Yes.
Yes! Amazing! Hang on, Brian, they're not impressed. Let's go further. Right, the third paragraph down, it's not actually a paragraph, it's one word, isn't it?
It is.
If I got this, Brian, that'd be amazing. Seriously, think about it. There's thousands of words. For me to know that that word is precisely, that'd be amazing. Is it precisely?
Yes.
Yes! Hang on, this is the bit where they'll go crazy. Look, the last sentence on the final, at the very bottom, the last sentence, we're going to try and read the entire sentence from memory. Are you looking at that last sentence there, Bryony?
I am.
Vary with every fresh part, then he assumed the. Is that right? Yes, it is! Come on! Are you impressed, Bryony?
Yes.
It's almost like I had another copy of the book. I don't know you very well, but I'm guessing that's your annoying face. Right, what page number did you have? 131.
Oh.
Yeah, that's 132, 131.
Magic.
Magic. You see, why she's reacting like this is because, guys, in this book there are no paragraphs, there are no sentences, there are no chapters, there are no words. Every single page is blank. Let's give a big round of applause to Bryony, everybody! Boom! But what that was, Bryony, that was just a warm-up. Now I know.
So like I said at the beginning, I'm going to give this 100%. I'm giving it 100% because I've performed this in my act for years and it never fails to bring the house down. Like, it always gets a great reaction. I love this routine. I think it's brilliant. Again, the props are very well made. They'll last you a very long time. It is self-working. It allows you to focus on presentation. You don't have to memorize anything. There's a small, tiny little mathematical thing that you work out, but nothing difficult at all. And other than that, there's no memory work at all. Absolutely nothing. So I was worried when I first saw this performed. Oh my gosh, there's going to be a lot of memory work with this. I'm going to have to memorize this and this and this. No memory work at all. You can buy these books, learn the secret, and within half an hour you can go out and perform. And you know, I talk on this channel an awful lot about people transitioning from close-up to stage. If you are transitioning from close-up to stage and you want to put together a stage act and you don't want to spend too much money and you want something that will pack small, play big, kill an audience without having to put too much effort in, Sheer Luck is great. You can play it as mentalism, you can play it as comedy mentalism, you can play it as magic, and it always gets a great reaction. And it's so much better, in my opinion, than paper balls over the head. I love it. It's getting 100%. It's highly recommended. So the final thing that we're going to be looking at today is another Stephen Bargatze product, and it's called I Hate Card Tricks, which is a follow-up to I Hate Kids. Now, I had never seen this before. It had flown under my radar. And when I watched the performance on the download, I was completely fooled. Absolutely, completely fooled. Not a clue how this worked at all. It's an interesting premise because the whole idea of it is, it's kind of this whole, you're talking about how you're going to do a boring card trick and you're shifting cards and you're getting them to do this and you're getting them to do this. But then at the end, you end up with like a fully examinable. Well, I'm not going to give it away. Let me show you a performance of it. I'm going to perform this to Ryland. Now, I've just filmed the footage of this, and I want to tell you, Ryland had never seen this before. He's a smart kid. Very little fools Ryland. This completely got him. He had absolutely no clue how this worked at all. It didn't make any sense to him. He was like, oh, you forced the 9 of spades. I was like, no, Ryan, you could have thought of any card. Oh, but and the more he was trying to think about it, the more confused he was getting. It's an amazing trick. It really is. Let me roll that performance footage for you, first of all. Okay, so I'm here with Ryan. Hey, Ryan. You okay, mate?
Yeah.
Good stuff. We're going to do a card trick. Is that okay?
Yeah.
This is probably the most boring card trick you'll ever see. This card trick is so boring, it's going to make you go, oh, I hate card tricks. But at the end, it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be worth it for the end. But I'm going to try and do the most boring card trick ever, okay? Now, it starts with me giving the cards a shuffle. I'll give them a bit of a shuffle. That's fair, right?
That's a fancy shuffle, so it's not boring at the moment.
It's not boring. It's going to get very, very boring. What I want you to do, Ryland, is I want you to think of a card. Okay? Now, everybody knows your favourite card is the King of Hearts. Don't name the King of Hearts. No. Don't name an ace. You always name aces. Name something that is different. I don't want people saying later on, well, Ryland always names that card. Can you think of a different card to what you normally think of, yeah? Don't say anything. Just think of a card.
Yeah.
You got one? Cool. Now, here's what we're going to do, right? This is what we're going to do. I'm going to divide the deck into 2 piles like this. And then I'm going to turn round. Now, what I want you to do, if you're thinking of a black card, what I want you to do is take this packet and put it on top of this packet. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're thinking of a red card, I want you to put this packet on top of this packet. Now, when you do that, Ryland, here's the thing. Maybe people that are watching this, they're going to go, oh, well, Craig's going to know whether it's red or black because of where the cards are positioned on the table. So what I want you to do, if you think of a black card, do that, but then move it across. And if you're thinking of a red card, do that and then move it across. You get the idea?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to turn around completely, but before you do, I just need to do something.
So black is that way.
I'm just going to do something. Am I on camera here? I want you to see. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Just like that. Okay, that won't mean anything to you. But yeah, so black is like that, red is like that. Okay, so wait until I've turned round. I've turned round. I'm covering my face. Tell me when you've done it. Are we done?
Yes.
And you move the deck on the table, yes? So I couldn't possibly know anything, could I?
No.
Hands off the table. Right, I'm going to do something else now. I'm going to take another... This one, this one, this one, this one. Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's try it this way. If you're thinking of a club, I want you to put that packet on there. If you're thinking of a heart, I want you to put that packet on there. If you're thinking of a spade or a diamond, I want you to put that packet on there.
Okay.
Okay, so club and heart, spade and diamond. You get it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then move the packet onto somewhere else on the table. Let me turn around first. I don't want to see anything. You tell me when you're done. Okay, so remember, you're going to tell me when you're done?
Done.
Are we done? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So let me take some more cards out. I'll take this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. That might not mean anything to you, but it means everything to me. Right, now we're going to try and do this again.
Okay.
This time, I want to think of the value of the card. Whether it's an ace, a 2, a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a jack, queen, or a king. By the way, is this pretty boring right now? It is pretty boring, isn't it? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the deck and deal cards face down onto the table. If you were thinking of a 5, for example, you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
If you're thinking of a jack, you go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, because a jack's value is 11, yeah?
Yeah.
Then you're going to put all the rest of the cards on top and square them up and put them somewhere else, okay?
Yeah.
But when you deal, don't do this, because I'll know. Deal quietly and silently, okay?
Yeah.
Can you do that for me? Hang on, wait until I've turned around. Okay, I am not looking. Go for your life. Okay?
Yeah.
Can I turn it around?
Yeah.
Oh no, put the rest on top.
Oh.
Put them on top.
Oh yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see anything. Right, I'm going to try one more time. Okay. One last thing.
Okay.
I'm going to have you pick up the cards in a minute, not until I turn around. I'm going to have you deal the cards face down onto the table like this. And you can stop anytime you want to. You can deal a lot. You can deal almost all of them. You can deal just a few of them. and you can stop anytime you want to. And wherever you stop, hold the rest of the cards in your hand and just leave those cards on the table. Okay, do you understand?
Yeah.
And don't do anything until I've turned round. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, done.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got all of these. You dealt through all of these. And that was a free choice, yeah? You could have dealt anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay. Genuinely, I was turned around every single time. There's no way I could know what your card is there?
No.
There's no way I could have controlled where you were going to deal to, right?
Yeah.
You haven't said your card out loud. You haven't written it down, have you?
No.
For the first time, what was the name of your card?
9 of spades.
Really? And look at where you dealt to.
Whoa.
But you know what's even weird?
What?
That's not the best card trick of all time.
What is?
Well, the best card trick of all time would be...
Wait.
Have a look. Every single card. Examine them. There is literally only one card printed in that whole deck. And that is your 9 of spades.
What?
So it's a real magician fooler. Not that that matters, but it is a real magician fooler. And it's such an incredible version of the blank deck trick because they can think of any card that they want to. They can think of any card, any one of the 52. There's no limitations at all. They're doing this whole procedure thing. And at the end, they deal to their card. And then after they've dealt to their card, every other card in the deck is blank. I mean, talk about killer. Now, the one thing I do want you to understand is this is not the sort of routine that you want to do when you're doing mix and mingle at a wedding, or you're doing mix and mingle at a corporate event, or you're doing sort of big tables where you're getting around a lot of people and you've got only a few minutes to like grab people's attention before you move on to the next table or the next group, and you've got to kind of hit them hard at each group because you haven't got much time with them. This is not the sort of trick to do there, because this is kind of a slow build. This is what my friend Dave Penn would call pipe and slippers magic. This is the sort of trick that you do at the end of the night when you've finished your set. And you go back and you go, well, you know, I'm going to do one more thing for you. Would it okay if I do one more thing for you? I'd love to do one more thing for you. And you go back and you do this. This is the thing that everybody will remember. To be honest, you could even leave the deck with the person who's helped you. If it's an important enough client and you're going back to do one last thing, you could finish off by giving them the deck of cards to keep. And they've got this blank deck and the only card in there that's printed is their card. I mean, that would be an amazing giveaway, but it's not the sort of thing that you're going to do. You need to have people invested in your performance. You could probably do it in a parlour show once you've established credibility, or maybe as an encore piece. It's great for like down the pub with mates, or you got friends coming around the house that know you do card tricks or whatever it is, or it's great for that pipe and slippers moment after the gig. But this is not the sort of thing that you want to do to open your card set on your first table in the group. You know what I mean? But right time, right place, this will kill. Because you cannot backtrack it. You cannot figure out how this works. I'm going to give it 90%. It's getting less than the other stuff on this review show. Not because it's not as good. It is good. But just because there's less places that you can actually perform this. There's less places. Although you could argue that if you're an amateur or a hobbyist and you perform for friends and family, this is the perfect trick because they're always invested. You know, they kind of get you, oh, show us another trick, will you? Yeah, let me do this. They're always invested. So it depends on the performer. It depends on, but for me, I can't perform this all the time. But when I can perform it, I know I'm going to kill with it. So it's going to get 90%. It's really good. It's self-working. It is very easy. No, actually, I'm lying. It's not self-working. I'm thinking about it. It's not self-working. It's very easy. I think of it as self-working because there's one move in there that I've just done for years and years and years. So for me, it's second nature. But it's not self-working. It's very easy to do. The move that you have to do, you'll be able to do very, very easily with very little practice. It's a very easy trick to do, but it's not self-working. But, you know, it's angle proof. It is angle proof. You just need to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. I can't really say any more about that. You need to make sure you're aware of your surroundings. But other than that, it's a great trick. Highly recommended. So there you go, guys. That is another review show special in the bag. First of all, thank you very much to Shawn Farquhar for coming on the show and doing that mini interview. And thank you guys for watching it. And let me know what you think. And more importantly, do you want to see another follow-up to Palmer Magic? He's got some other amazing stuff. Matrix Express, Torn to Pieces, his wallet, just to name a few. So would you like to see another review show special on Palmer Magic? If so, I'll put it together. And what else do you want to see a review show special on? Is there a product or anything that you want me to do it on? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and I'm going to be back tomorrow at, it's Monday tomorrow, so I'm going to be back on Monday at 2 o'clock with a short, 6 o'clock with a live, and I'm going to be here at 9 o'clock with a 5x5. So I'll see you then again. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great night. My name's Craig from Magic TV.